Hi, I'm Linda, and this is No Frills ASMR. So last night I was lip syncing, which, by the way, that needs to come back because it's fun. There used to be contests at bars for who could lip sync the best, and I think that's greater than karaoke for somebody like me who can't sing. But anyway, I was dancing and lip syncing to the song Kiss Off by the Violent Femmes. And by the way, I was perfect. And my husband said, I saw them in concert. And I was like, what? Because he doesn't even know the songs. And that got us talking about it. And he went and grabbed his little bag full of concert tickets. So I thought today maybe we could just go through these tickets and I can basically retell you stories I know he's told me in the past about the shows. And we'll organize them by date. And then I bought this scrapbook at a thrift store a while ago. And I never did use it. Oops, sorry, I can't open it. But anyway, I thought we could put the tickets inside. You put them in these pages. And then I could put them in here in order, maybe. And then later, if he wants to, I could like write little stories about each one and put it with the ticket so that someday when we're dead, our kids can look at it. I don't know. Now, I saw some concerts, but I'm not a saver, so I don't have any of my tickets. And he said he didn't save every ticket, but there are a few good ones in here, I think. So, without further ado, let's see what we've got here. Well, let's think about this. How are we going to do this? First, let's just look at the dates, and we'll put them by date, and then we'll look at what they are. Is that what we should do? All right, this one says 93. I know that's going to be later because he's old. 88. 83. 85. 87. I'm going to have to move this out of the way for a minute. Put it over here. Okay. What was this one? 88, 87, 85, 87, 85. We'll just load them up like this. 88, 85, 83, 87, 86, 84, 83, 83, 84, 83, 88. I will tell you what all these are in a minute. 85, 84, 88, 88, 88. Okay. 84, 85, 87, 86, 97. Whoa, whoa. That's way over here. 86, 89, 94, 94. Whoa, we're off the charts here. Hold on, we'll put these down here. Okay. 98. 85 and 86. 84. So it looks like 85 was the big year for him. All right, let's put this in order like this, and then we'll start to look through them here. Oops. Oh, shoot. Okay. What does this one say? Long. What? This is not a concert. Longhorn World Championship Rodeo, world's biggest one-day professional rodeo, Sunday, March 27th, 1983 at the Pontiac Silverdome. That's funny. First of all, it's funny that there's a rodeo in Detroit, and it's also funny that my husband went to a rodeo in Detroit because that's not his usual stuff. He's a how do I explain? Well, he got really into rockabilly during the early 80s when that was sort of new. And he was in a punk kind of type of rock band, like a surf punk. And he plays bass and guitar. He doesn't sing. Yeah, so that's the gist of him, I guess. So, okay, that is a rodeo. I don't know about that one. What is this? Dos Equis Beer and WLLZ, which in Detroit is called Wheels, presents Stray Cats. Okay, yeah. So he was, like I said, into rockabilly, and the Stray Cats were a rockabilly band in the 80s that, like, at first, I think a lot of people thought, oh, they're just, guys playing like mom and dad's type music, and it's kind of like, boring. But rockabilly got a little bit of a following during the 80s. But the lead guitarist, singer from Stray Cats, Brian Setzer, is actually a super accomplished guitarist. So, like, for a guy like my husband who was very into guitar, like more than the music, you know what I mean? He really likes Stray Cats. So, this is the Stray Cats at Masonic Auditorium, October 29th, 1983, Saturday at 8 p.m. And the ticket costs $12.50. Now, this concert's from 1983, but when I was talking to my husband, he said he first saw the Stray Cats in 1982, but he didn't have that ticket anymore. And this one, he had kind of a funny story. I think it was after the show. Him and his friends were in, I think, an elevator. And in walks Brian Setzer and Slim Jim Phantom of the Stray Cats. And, it's not like they were that big at the time. I mean, they were pretty big, I think. 83, maybe they were pretty big. I don't know. But my husband is not into like collecting autographs. That does not interest him. But he didn't know what to say. And so he goes, "Can I have your autograph?" So on here he has Brian Setzer and Slim Jim Phantom's autographs. Have I been holding this out of camera? I'm sorry. So that's Brian Setzer. And that's Brian Setzer, sorry. Like I can read these chicken scratch. And that's Slim Jim Phantom. But he laughs at that because he's like, I felt so stupid about it later. Like, what was I doing? Anyway, so that's the Stray Cats. But his very first concert he ever went to was the Stray Cats in 82. I mean, like, as a teenager, I was trying to remember what the first concert, I just don't really remember these things. Like, I know when I was younger, my mom and dad, we would go out to Pine Knob, was the place in Detroit, and there was it's like got an amphitheater and then a grass hill area, and we'd set up like a blanket on the ground and get Kentucky Fried Chicken and watch all kinds of different, I think we saw Willie Nelson, We saw, at some point, I don't know whether it was at Art Plaza or Meadowbrook in Detroit area, but we saw Bo Diddley. And I think one time we saw Willie Nelson at the state fair. But as a teenager, a lot of my friends would see concerts. But you guys, when I tell you that I'm frugal, it didn't start as an adult. Even when I was young, they'd be going to a concert and they'd say like, oh, it's $18. And I was like, no, I'm not spending $18 to see Depeche Mode, you know. So a lot of they went to see like Depeche Mode and The Cure, and I didn't go to those shows. And I actually have never really regretted that, because I remember they got back and they were like, after Depeche Mode, they were like, that was so boring. But I don't know. But I did see at the place in Auburn, the Palace, I think it was called, in Auburn, Michigan, with the business I worked for. They owned a suite, and my girlfriend and I worked there, and we were nobodies, but they'd always invite us probably to have some, you know, cute young gals around, is my guess. I don't know. I don't care. But so we got to see there Madonna and Janet Jackson. We saw Madonna on the Blonde Ambition tour, and I think Janet Jackson was at Respect. Is that the name of the tour? I don't remember. I can't remember what else. Anyway, if I think of them as I go. But that's why I'm talking about, is because he talks a lot about music, so I've heard a lot of stories. All right, so that's the Stray Cats. This one's kind of interesting. This is Cellar Door presents U2 at the Grand Circus Theater, May 20th, 1983. And the ticket cost $10.50. What a deal. So he talks about this one because this isn't U2's first tour in the US. Their first tour was the Boy album tour. This is War, 1983. And the Grand Circus Theater, it held about 3,000 people. So, you know, pretty small for seeing a big band. And he didn't really know who they were. So, like you'd heard about them, but they didn't have, I don't think they had a number one hit yet, you know, not until Joshua Tree. So they weren't very well known. And so he went to see them, and he talks about how, first of all, how different a sound they had than anything they were playing on Detroit radio at that time. Because if you listen to like WRIF, which was the not heavy metal, but you know, like rock station, Rocks Detroit, WRIF, they played like Boston and I don't know, Kansas, you know, Led Zeppelin, those kind of bands. Or if you listen to like the pop, they were playing like Michael Jackson. So this was a really different sound, you know. But the thing he talks about a lot is at this show, there was the theater and then like the upper balcony. And Bono starts climbing I forget if it was like the curtain or something. So he climbed his way up into the balcony, and then he's like singing up there and then climbing down. And my husband, who's an Eagle Scout, you know, he's very safe. He was like, that doesn't look safe. That doesn't look safe at all. But he was very impressed with the band, their musicality. Is that the word I'm looking for? He thought they were really pretty good and interesting, so he saw them more times after this. But when we were talking about it one time, and I think I've brought this up in a previous video, it brought up this video that he showed me from the US Festival in Los Angeles, also during 1983. And if I think of it, I'll try to like throw a little link in there because it's worth a watch. You go to like minute 45 4, I think, of that video. And Bono, during the, what song? I was like Bloody Sunday, but then he moves into that other song, Electric Co. And he starts climbing. I mean, it is like scaffolding over the stage. It is way up there. And he's climbing on this like little ladder up the scaffolding. And he waves this big white flag around, which he did at this show too that my husband was at. And he gets up here and gets the flag, and then he comes to the center of the stage and he's singing. And by the way, he still sounds great, like even after doing all that. But the part that bugged me, he takes the white flag and he throws it down towards the audience. And I'm like, that doesn't seem safe. That does not seem safe. But it's quite a show. It's quite a show. All right. And this is Live Aid. Live Aid was until 1985. So this is before that. Okay. That's U2. That's that year. All right. This is Ceremony Clutch Cargo. I have no idea what that means. Ceremony / Clutch Cargos presents the Shaken Pyramids at St. Andrew's Hall. $6 ticket. Never heard of that. Shaken Pyramids. Anybody? Don't know. I don't know anything about that. And that's in 83. And then we have Pine Knob Music Theater, which is the one I told you has like a grassy, presents the Stray Cats on June 23rd of 1983. So he sees them twice. We'll put those two together in 1 year. So he's a real fan. He still is. He still loves Brian Setzer. Okay. Ceremony Clutch Cargos presents Let's Active at the St. Andrew Hall. Let's Active. And the Shaken Pyramids. This one's in November. This one's in October. Oh, this is 84. I've never heard of that. Let's Active. I don't know. Ceremony and Clutch Cargo presents The Cramps at St. Andrew's Hall in 1984. $9.50 ticket. Yeah. We listen to The Cramps sometimes. I was trying to think the Goo Goo Muck. I think that's on our Halloween playlist. I can't remember. I'm just a teenage Goo Goo Muck. They were kind of rockabilly, influenced. A lot of punk was, I think. All right. So we're into 84 now. Here we go. Here's the reason this all came up. Parento Guidance presents The Violent Femmes at Todd's Bar, which is a pretty small place. Friday, May 11th, 1984, $10. So here's why life, isn't fair. I'm just kidding. But he saw this concert and he said the only song he knew was Blister in the Sun because that was kind of their big hit. And in 1984, in May, I was only 13. And he was 19. But anyway, so I was not old enough to go to this show. But I know all their songs by heart. Kiss Off, Blister in the Sun, Add It Up. Gone Daddy Gone. Please, please, please do not go. Anyway, did I say if you're ever feeling angsty or like your, boss, parents, the world, commenters in your YouTube videos are kind of being jerks to you, go listen to Kiss Off like 2 times in a row and maybe take a brisk walk while doing it. You'll feel a lot better. Okay. Oh, here's a good one. Z95.5 welcomes the Purple Rain Tour starring Prince and the Revolution. Special guest Sheila E. Monday, November 5th, 1984. Oh, I wish I could have seen this one. I wish I'd gotten to see Prince. That's a concert I really wish I'd seen. And it's funny because I think my husband saw this just because a group of people were going, so he went with the group. And it was expensive, $17.50. Oh, I know. I have something to say about that though. But he was like, he knew Prince because it was on the radio. But he was on the radio. But he wasn't like a giant fan or anything. But now, in the last 15 years or so, he's become aware of just how great a guitarist Prince was and just started to really appreciate him. And then when I introduced him to my love of Prince, now he like is a huge fan. And he's kind of like, I didn't know when I saw this, like how really genius he was. I just thought it was like a thing. But I know I was going to say, like, this ticket is $17.50, and he was, let's see, row 28, C13. Back in the 80s, when we'd go to concerts, if you wanted to get tickets, you had to go to the mall. At least at our Ticketmaster was at the mall, and you'd basically get there as early as you could and sit on the floor and wait for the Ticketmaster or Ticket World or whatever to open, and then buy your ticket. And all tickets were the same price, I think, if I remember correctly. Every ticket was whatever, the show would be X amount, and that's how much you paid. And it just depended on how early you got there, what seats you got. That's all I have to say about that. All right, we're still in 84. Look, it's another Pro Rodeo of the Year Longhorn World Championship at Pontiac Silverdome. All right, we'll put that up here. Prism Stud Club series presents The Replacements at the Nectarine Ballroom. That's a cool name. I don't remember that. Wednesday at August 21st, 1985. $7. The Replacements. Yeah, I remember The Replacements. I can't think of what they sang, but yeah. 1985, okay. Miller Music at Pine Knob presents George Thorogood and the Delaware Destroyers with Johnny Winter. Friday, August 23rd, 1985. I think he's seen George Thorogood more times than one over the years. I think so. Prism, blah, blah, blah. Prism and WLLZ. An Evening with the Cure at State Theater on October 19th, 1985. $13. Yeah, I think my husband's not like a huge, I like the Cure, but that's not like really his vibe. And he had a girlfriend who had a cousin who was a roadie, and so he could get free tickets to shows. And I think that's why he saw some of these, probably some of these other ones that I'm not familiar with, maybe, because they just get free tickets. So I was trying to think, there was one band, he said she got free tickets, and he was like, nah, I'll pass. Even though they were free, but I can't think of what it was. Oh, well, whatever. Okay. Cellar Door presents The Alarm. Yeah, you like The Alarm. 1985, $12.50. Okay. MTV. Oh, MTV's around here. This is the beginning of MTV, I'm sure. And Cellar Door present U2 at Joe Louis Arena. Okay, now Joe Louis is a bigger arena in Detroit. $13.50. So the price is going up for U2. That's 1985. Ceremony Clutch Cargoes presents Jason and the Scorchers at St. Andrews Hall, 1985, $6.50. I don't know Jason and the Scorchers, but sounds like sort of like George Thorogood type music to me, if I had to guess. We saw a lot of bands, and I'm going to have to put, this year we're going to have to go like this. A lot of bands in 85. Okay. Ceremony Clutch Cargo presents Aztec Camera at St. Andrews Hall, Thursday, March 28th, 1985. That's funny because just not that long ago, my sister and I were talking about MTV, and I brought up how they used to play this one video by Aztec Camera, and she's like, never heard of that band, that's wrong. And then I brought it up to some friends. I was like, you guys ever heard of Aztec Camera? No. And I don't remember my husband ever once saying, I saw them in concert. But he did. All right, Harpo's presents Brian Setzer in 1986. Okay, so between 84 and 86, Brian went solo. Yeah. Huh, okay. He went on a solo tour. That's funny because I thought he was still. All right, Office of Major Events presents Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble. December 11th, 1986, $15.50. I'm trying to remember, what year did Stevie Ray Vaughan die? It probably was pretty close to that time, wasn't it? Wait, 86. Whoops. New one. Okay. Stevie Ray Vaughan, yeah. My husband loves Stevie Ray Vaughan. Cellar Door and WLZ welcomed The Alarm. So we saw The Alarm twice. I don't know if I should put these by date or by... I think I have to put these together. We'll just put them. The Alarm. Which means we should put U2 with U2 here, probably. Were there any other... Oh, well, the Stray Cats we had multiple times, didn't we? I'll put Brian Setzer with the Stray Cats. Okay. What do we have here? Buddy Guy, the River Rock Cafe in 1987. $4 show. That's a deal. 1987. Okay. Yeah, big fan of Buddy Guy. Clutch Cargo presents The Alarm. Boy, I guess I forgot he's that big of a fan of The Alarm. I don't think he listens to them now. Brass Ring presents John Cougar Mellencamp, Joe Louis Arena. So he was already pretty big if he was at Joe Louis. Saturday, November 7th in 1987. Where's the price? $17.50. I still do. I like John Mellencamp. There was some album he put out. I don't know. I'll have to remember the name of it. A few years ago, and I swear every song is like a poem. It's beautiful and just great storytelling. But then I watched like the live thing where he talks, and he was a little too pretentious for me. So if you just listen, don't watch. All right, Cellar Door welcomes U2 at the Pontiac Silverdome, 1987. Hold on a minute. Wait, where was U2? Here's U2. Okay, so they were $13.50, and then $13.50 again. Oh, I thought the price went up. And then at the Silverdome, now that's where the Lions played. It was a big place. $16.50. Okay, so the price is a little bit higher. Okay. Alvin's presents The Ventures. April 19th, 1988. Alvin's on Cass Avenue. That must be a smaller place. $8.50. Okay. Music Hall presents Stratford Festival, Two Gentlemen of Verona. Music Hall Center, 8 o'clock in 1988. $32.50. Yeah. He used to go from Detroit over to Stratford, Ontario, and see all the plays. They had a lot of Shakespeare. They do a Shakespeare festival there, and it's really cool from what I've heard. I still haven't been, but you stay and you see different shows all day long. So he would have a lot of these. I don't know if this is the only one he has, but okay. The Stray Cats. Oh, what year is this? 1988. Okay. Here they are in 83, $13. Masonic Auditorium, 12. Brian Setzer, 8. At the Ritz, 12. He was telling me about this concert because they had been like really famous when they had, Stray Cat Strut and I'm black. Sexy at 17. Anyway, I'm blanking. But by the 88, they kind of like dropped off pretty quickly. So when he went to see this show, it was like this small place, like a kind of, intimate theater. And he said it was cheaper, but it's 12 as opposed to 13, I guess, yeah. But anyway, so he said he actually enjoyed it because he could, play guitar. He could play not all the hits. He could play some other stuff. Anyway, Miller Genuine Draft Concerts at Pine Knob. George Thorogood. Okay, where's the other George Thorogood? We had that. I guess I should. Oh, here it is. All right, so this was $17.50. The first time we saw him, it was only $10. So prices are going up. Concerts at Pine Knob, Stevie Ray Vaughan, and Double Trouble, $20. So he paid $15 in 86 and $20 in 89. Oh, yeah, so I was wrong when I said it must have been close because 89. When did that happen? Was that in the 90s? I guess so. All right, what do we have here? Miller Genuine Draft, Dwight Yoakam with guest Carlene Carter at Blockbuster Desert Sky. I was at this concert. This is in Phoenix in 1993. We went and saw Dwight Yoakam. My husband's mom loved Dwight Yoakam. She'd play his CDs all the time, and that got me really into Dwight Yoakam. And I still love Dwight Yoakam. So yeah, we saw him. I'm trying to think if we saw him twice. Maybe not. This may have been the only time. But it was a great concert. We had fun. And Carlene Carter was great too. All right. Yeah, I was with him for all these, I think. Bill Silva presents An Evening with the Brian Setzer Orchestra at Gibson's, Mill Avenue, Tempe, Arizona. $17. It's funny because when I met my husband, he was talking about an idea he had for playing like rockabilly guitar with a big band. And it wasn't 4 years later, Brian Setzer, maybe it was like 6 years later, Brian Setzer came out with the Brian Setzer Orchestra, and we're like, oh, shoot. But you gotta act on your ideas. But yeah, this became popular because, well, I think they used the music in the movie Swingers. Is that right? I think so. And then in a Gap commercial, they used the old Louis Prima song that they did, Jump Jivin'. So it was fun. It was fun. But I remember being at this concert, and it's swing music. You dance, But it was in a theater in the round where the stage rotates around. And so people are sitting, and people are all like dressed cute in their little like rockabilly type clothes. And this one gal was getting up and she was dancing, and her friend are dancing, and the I don't know what you call them, ushers were coming around going, sit down, and making people not stand up. And finally Brian like stopped the show, and he's like, these people want to dance, let them dance. And then they opened up the next time we saw them. Actually, this time, I think, wait. Oh, okay. Maybe that one at Gibson's. That was this one at Celebrity Theater where it was in the round. Because the next time we saw them, they opened up the area in front to allow people to stand and dance and stuff. He must have insisted on that. Yeah, so we saw them. Oops. We saw Brian Setzer in 94, 97, and 98. One of these may have been at Christmas. August. Nope. May. Nope. Yeah. My husband was a fan. All right. So we can put these in our little album. You know, speaking of standing up, that made me think of a story he told me about seeing U2 at the Joe Louis Arena, I think it was. No, was it Silverdome? It was one of these two. I think it was Joe Louis. And he said that they, which was 1985, they had tickets that were right up front. So he said they were like, oh, sorry guys, sorry, I knocked my lamp trying to open this. They were, sorry. Okay. They had the Joe Louis Arena, you know, had like seats around the outside and then a flat, you know, in the middle, like an arena. And so they were like fourth row from the stage, center, like really good seats for the U2. And what Joe Louis did was put metal folding chairs into the middle so that you know where your row and seat is. So you have somewhere to sit, but like who's sitting during a rock and roll concert, you know? So what happened was, as my husband tells it, people started to stand on their chairs, their metal chairs. And, you know, people were kind of sneaking in. So it was getting very crowded. And there were people standing on those metal chairs. But you know how they are, where they can, the seat kind of goes in. So people were falling and getting caught up in them. And he said you started to feel the crush of people, like the, you know, that feeling. And so he said they listened to 3 songs standing on their metal chairs. And then him and his buddies kind of looked at each other and they were like, let's get out of here. So he said they literally were like crawling through the people to get out of the middle. And then they went and sat up like, here's the band and their seats kind of empty over here because they're not very good view. But that's where they went and sat for the rest of the show because they were like, nope, don't like that feeling. All right, I'm going to put them in this way because otherwise I'd have to reach from the top. So I'm sure you're supposed to like put little, I don't know what you do. I've never scrapbooked in my life, but put little stickies or something in here. So I'll put all the Stray Cat here and then leave space so that I can like write down whatever stories he has to tell about that. Maybe. U2. Okay. What a mess. I could have done this more neatly. That one. And then 85. And then 87. Yeah, when I think about shows that I kind of wish I'd seen, I think, well, Prince, 1,000,000%. I wish I'd seen Prince. And I wish I'd seen the Talking Heads during their Stop Making Sense tour. And I could have probably done that. I really wish I'd done that. The Clash, but I was too young to see them live, but my husband could have and should have. I don't know. I can't think of who else. Like, I'm glad that I saw Madonna. She was actually, it was a good show, you know. She was a great performer. She danced the whole time. And Janet Jackson was awesome. Yeah, I know this isn't going to work because they're going to slide around in here, but whatever. I'll figure that out later. Trying to think. I think I told one time one of my favorite shows was, oh, what's his name? The guy who sings Two Tickets to Paradise. Pack your bags and we'll leave tonight. Eddie. Eddie Rabbit? No, Eddie. That's not it. He sang Windshield Wiper. I'm blanking his name. Anyway, it'll come to me. But I saw that, whoever that guy saw, at Pine Knob. And we had seats out on the grass. And it was just like the most beautiful night. And they didn't sell enough tickets. So at the last, it was like day of, they said $5 lawn seats. So we ran out there and bought the $5 lawn. And we were just like dancing under the twilight. It was awesome. So like, it wasn't about the band. It was about the company, I guess. We just had such a fun time. So I try to go see just about anything now because I find that even if it's not like my perfect kind of music, I still always have fun going to a concert. Speaking of which, I forgot to show you guys. I've brought these up 100 times. Get yourself some high fidelity earplugs if you go to concerts. They look like this. And the great thing about them is you can still hear the music perfectly fine. It just cuts out the really highs and lows so that it doesn't damage your hearing. I think these are, I'm not sponsored. I think they're like $30. I got them for all my kids for gifts. Yeah, if you see concerts, trust me, get these. You know, I used to go home from concerts and your ears would ring all night. That is permanent damage to your hearing. These things stop that. They stop it. Highly recommend. What brought that up? I don't remember. Oh, going to see any concert. Yeah, I'll go to see anything. I went, speaking of that, with my girlfriend and her husband, had extra tickets to see a band that probably a lot of people are familiar with called The National. And they're like, hey, you want to go? We have extra tickets. So we went, and it was a beautiful night. We had fun. But my one complaint with that was, you know, my husband now has some health problems that make it so he has numbness and tingling in his legs and his feet really bad, and fatigue, not like just tired, but like fatigue, like really fatigue. And it was a standing room situation, no seats, which anymore I just look for places that have seats. But we go to the show, and they had an opening act, and that was all cool and good and fine. But the opening act played for like a pretty long time. I don't remember, 45 minutes or so. And then they leave the stage, and they were waiting for the National to come on. They did not come on for a full hour after the opening act. So now you've been standing for at least 2 hours because, you know, you get there a little early. And then they played, and my husband was so, like, we should have probably left. But I could feel him, like, he's kind of hanging on to my hips to help support him. And that's just too long. Like, you can't make your crowd wait that long. That's just rude. So, I don't know. I don't even remember the show because I was feeling so bad for him, you know. But that's just because he has health. Like, a normal person wouldn't care about that, I guess. Yeah, I'm going to have to rethink this. I guess I could cut slats in the paper, because this comes out, and then put them in there. But I have to sort out what I'm going to do with this. I don't know. Anyway. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. I just thought of one other thing. When I was talking, like, he was saying, what concert do you wish you'd gone to, whatever. And I was saying how all my friends, like I said, went to Depeche Mode, but I never really regretted not going because they didn't think it was all that exciting. Although now, I you know, you're out with your friends, how bad could it be? I should have gone. But he said his friends all went to see the Go-Go's, and at the time he was like, I don't need to see the Go-Go's. But he said now he wishes he had gone to see the Go-Go's because, you know, they're fun. Anyway, that's all. All right, I'll talk to you soon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27.